All right, folks, we'll get started here in just a minute. We'll just let the last few stragglers come in. It's always interesting to see where people sit in the classroom. We have people that sit down front, and then we have people that sit in the back row. I'm a back row person. I'm a backbencher, so. Well, I'd like to welcome you to Liberty High School. My name is Ed Nelson, and I am the building principal here at Liberty High School. So I'd like to welcome you. Before we go any further, parents, not students, but parents, if you'll take out your cell phone, I want you to program in my cell phone number. It's always fun. At least one person needs to text me because it's always fun to get the text. So again, my name is Ed, so you program in Ed Nelson, and I'm the building principal. And my phone number is 636 538 0222. Let me give that one more time. 636 538. Somebody's calling. Not calling. Toby, you little stinker. So again, 636 538 0222. So, welcome to Liberty High School. It is the best high school in the Wentzville School District. All right, stop with the calls. We got a bunch of characters in here. And I say that because we are the best, and we have the best teachers, but if you look at our scores, both in U.S. News and World Report, and with DESE, which is the State Education Authority, we are the number one high school academically in the Wentzville School District. And there's only a couple of high schools in the St. Charles County that beat us. So that's a point of pride and bragging. Our teachers, so if we have any of the teachers in the building or in the room, stand up. Because I want to make a point here. Toby, where are you? Stand up. I want you guys to stand up. Well, any teacher in our building. Okay, go ahead and take a seat. What I want to point out is many of our teachers have their sons and daughters in our building. So that means something. If you're going to send your student, your son or daughter to Liberty High School, that means you believe that we offer a good program, and we do. Even our teachers that don't have kids here, because they maybe live outside the boundaries, many of them are parents themselves of students in the Wentzville School District. And the reason why I point that out, it means we bought in. Liberty, we were very lucky. We opened up Liberty year by year. What was it? I think it was 14 or 15 years ago, Toby. And we opened up 9th grade, and then the next year we had 9th and 10th. And that was a good thing for us because we literally robbed the other schools in the district in St. Charles County and got the best teachers. And so we're very fortunate. I think this might be my 6th school in my career, and I've never come across such good teachers. Mr. Glavin is one of them. So we're proud of that. We're bought in. All of our teachers here are not perfect, but we try really, really hard. We care about your sons and daughters, and we're trying to put forward the best program to help them realize their dreams. I'm going to mention a couple of things about myself, not to brag, it's just to kind of tell you who I am. This is a 3rd career for me. I'm going to, this next year when you guys get started, this will be the 12th year of me being the building principal here at Liberty High School. I still have the same administrative team, and we still have the same counselors. So our team has had a lot of steadiness. A lot of times at a school, principals, assistant principals, counselors come and go. My team has been here, and so we're a well-oiled machine. We care about your sons and daughters. Obviously, I gave you my cell phone number. I'm hoping that might not be your first way reach out to the school, but if it is, I'll take it. Obviously, talk to the teacher if you have a concern or a counselor, but always know that you can reach me on the phone. And if I don't answer the phone immediately, I will definitely call you back. And whatever the problem is, in another life, I did a lot of customer service, and so I take that idea into education. You guys aren't customers necessarily, but I approach it that way. Whatever you need, whatever your concern is, whatever your fear, I have 3 quote-unquote adult children, and I have a daughter that's a sophomore here. So I've lived high school. Well, I'm going to be living high school right along with you. So again and again and again, I hope that we can always demonstrate to you that we care about your sons and daughters. Let me make 2 other points, and then I'm going to turn it over to my friend Shelly Geringer. In a previous life, I was in the Army, and I spent about 10 years in the Army, and one of my responsibilities for about 4 years was to be a drill sergeant. And so I'm not trying to scare people, but we're serious about keeping kids safe, and your sons and daughters will know who I am. I'm not going to hide in my office. The kids call me Nelson, and sometimes when they're frustrated, they might call me other things. But again, I'm serious about discipline. I'm serious about keeping kids safe at Liberty High School. One last thing I'll leave with you. I probably shouldn't say this, but I'm getting advanced in years, and so I can take those liberties. Every morning, I pray for all of our teachers, for all of our students, and more recently in the last 3 or 4 years as I've been parenting some difficult children, I'm now praying for parents as well. So that may or may not mean something to you, but it means something to me. We care here at Liberty High School. Without further ado, I will introduce Shelly Geringer, who is our career and college counselor. Welcome to Liberty, and if you have any concerns, please reach out to me whenever you do. Thank you.
So after we get through with this presentation, you may see some of these administrators and counselors wandering around, and I just want to make sure you know who's on the team for your particular portion of the alphabet. And before I completely dive in, I do want to mention that this slideshow will be shared out to the families. So don't feel like you have to take a lot of, you can, but don't feel like you have to take a lot of photos. We will send it to you. There are some links embedded within it that are live active links that will get you to some good information. Also, this presentation is being live streamed, and so the link to the recording of tonight's presentation will also be shared with you. So hopefully, because there is so much information, we want to make sure that you don't have to try to jot it all down, that you can just maybe soak it in this first time, and then you can always revisit one of those resources after the fact if you have more questions. So you've already met Dr. Nelson, our building principal. We are separated by alphabet according to last name. So students with last names A through E have Mr. Pryor as their assistant principal. F through K is Dr. Kiley. L through R is Dr. Kiesel. S through Z is Dr. Shoemaker. And our activities director, who is in charge of athletics and clubs, is Mr. Eldridge. Counseling is also kind of separated by alphabet. Mrs. Sheffield is the counselor for last names A through E. Mr. Cunningham, F through K. Mrs. Riley, L through R. Mrs. Blackford, S through Z. And then down along the bottom are some other players in the counseling office. Me, Mrs. Geringer, the College Career A+ counselor. We also have Mrs. Miller. She is our educational support counselor. And in case you're unfamiliar with that terminology, because it's specific to some districts use this terminology, is our mental health counselor, kind of a crisis counselor / social work-ish kind of counselor. Mrs. Gomillion is the secretary, so she's the friendly face that greets people when they come into the student center, which is what we call the counseling office. And Mrs. Schock is our registrar. She keeps track of everybody's records and some of the sends out report cards and such. So those are the people that you'll see. Hopefully you had a chance to glance at this when it was up. These are the different things we're going to cover today. I have a lot to say. I'm going to go pretty fast. I will stay around for questions afterwards, but I do want to get through the information without answering questions. just so that you guys can get out to the activities fair if you didn't have questions. And so we're gonna kind of jump right in. So we'll start with the differences between middle school and high school. The first difference is there's just more options, more independence. You have to put forth more effort and there's more opportunities. What would be new is you're gonna start earning credits towards graduation requirements, and on some later screens we're gonna go into that more in depth. In high school, F's have consequences. Now, if you got an F in middle school, you might have had some consequences at home. But at school, it didn't seem like there were a ton of consequences, because if you failed 7th grade math, you kind of still went into 8th grade math. But in high school, there are consequences. You do have to earn credits in order to get graduation requirements, in order to graduate. So if you don't pass a class, you may have to repeat it, you may have to go to summer school, graduation might be delayed if you do that too many times. So it's really important to stay on top of those grades. Our schedule is going to look a little different. We have something called nest time. It'll be once a week. It's kind of like a homeroom / study hall. It's an opportunity for students during that time. They can go visit a teacher that they need additional assistance from, or they maybe need to make up a test or quiz that they missed, things like that. We have at least, the bell schedule's changing a little bit, but at least a couple of days a week, we're going to have what's called power lunch, which is an extended lunch period, where the students will be able to structure their time in a way that they like, where they can be doing activities that help them maybe blow off steam, or just kind of reset the way that they're wired, and maybe they just had a really stressful morning, and then at the halfway point of the day, they can go shoot hoops in the gym during their power time for lunch. So there's some options there. We will have a modified block schedule, so some days of the week, they will have every single class, all 7 classes in a row. But there are a couple of days a week that are considered block days, which are longer class periods, but only half of the classes, and then the other day would be the other half of the classes. We are here to help Dr. Nelson, I think, hopefully set that tone for you. There's always counselor support, so if you or your student are having any questions or issues, a good point of first contact is always going to be the teacher, especially if there's something happening in the classroom that you have questions or concerns about. It might be a good first step to find out if there's just a little bit more information that you might not have. And then reach out to counselors and administrators once you've got the full picture, if you feel like there's something bigger going on that you need some assistance. We do send out at the high school level, from our office, from the counseling office, a weekly counseling update newsletter, and it's really full of information. And if you are not opening that every week and at least scrolling through it really quick, you're going to miss out. That is how we choose to not bombard your inbox with all of the different emails of all the different things that we are aware are happening. So instead of getting individual emails about 25 things, we put those 25 things into that weekly counseling update. But you can scroll through and then click on anything that looks like it's of interest to you to learn more, but you might just be able to get through that in a couple of seconds. You will be able to have some extra time with teachers, so if you're struggling in a class, teachers are often available before and or after school depending on their schedule. They might have kids to get to or coaching that they have to get to, but talk to your teachers to see when they might have some before or after school hours. We do also, as a school building, have after school academic assist that's offered Monday through Thursday after school. It's a free 1-hour tutoring, so kids can stay after and get some help for that with their schoolwork. We probably are going to have some office hours during lunches, but we don't know what that will look like yet because we're still getting some new information about what our bell schedule will look like next year, so we will share that when we have it. And then nest time, which I talked about, is that study hall. That's an opportunity to get assistance. So maybe for the first time, if you haven't already walked students through the high school experience, if your child is the first child of yours to go through high school, it might be time for a refresher on what is GPA, what are credits. So each semester class is worth a half credit. So if it's a 1 whole year class, English 1 for instance, first semester of English 1 is worth a half of your credit, and second semester of English 1 is worth a half of a credit. So each time at the end of the semester, we tally up, do they pass all of their classes? If they got at least a D or higher, that's passing. And then the letter grades get GPA points. So that's over here on the right side. An A in a regular class, which is most of our classes. An A is worth a 4.0, a B is a 3, a C is a 2, a D is a 1, and an F is a 0. So you take 7 classes, and we give those credit values to each of the grades that you got, and then we average it by dividing by 7, and that's your GPA for first semester. And then when you have the second semester, then we take all of those first semester grades plus all of the second semester grades, and we average the whole group. And and then we keep going and building on that, and that becomes your cumulative GPA that you graduate with. So I kind of mentioned, again, if you are not passing classes, then you're not accumulating credits, and if you're not accumulating credits, you're not making progress down the path towards graduation. We have seven classes on our schedule, and if each class is worth a half credit for each semester, then each semester we're doing half of that. 3.5 credits first semester, 3.5 credits second semester, for a total of 7 credits each year. You'll see on an upcoming slide, I'll go there in a second, on an upcoming slide you'll see that we require 25 credits for graduation. We're giving them 7 credits a year times 4 years. We're giving them 28 credits. So they have more than enough for graduation, even if they have an oops moment, right? So we know that people are not perfect, and there might be a class that really just kind of took them by surprise, and they kind of got in over their head. So that could happen, and we have room for that. While you're in high school, we really, really want you to get the most out of your experience. And one of the things that I think we've seen a big shift in over these last few years is attendance. And I really want to talk about this for a second. As an adult in this audience, raise your hand if you get to go to work only on the days that something cool or important is happening. Raise your hands if you get to go to work only when there's something cool and important happening. Okay, change it up. Raise your hand if you have to go to work even on the days that it's drudgery and the least important thing ever, and you have to still read all your emails and go there and do the things, right? Okay. If you are letting your kids call you or text you and say, there's nothing going on today, can you sign me out? I need you to remember this, okay? They don't get to cherry pick only coming on the good important days. This is a life skill, and if you want them to be able to hold a job, which I'm assuming you do if you don't want them sleeping on your couch forever, right? So we want them to be able to hold a job as an adult. Holding a job as an adult is going to require them to practice the skill of showing up, even when it's boring, even when it seems unimportant, okay? Being here is important, and studies say that having good attendance isn't just about getting an attendance percentage that's high, which is required for the A+ scholarship, by the way, but it also has other trends that we see that are very true. They're going to have higher academic performance. They're going to have improved behaviors because of the socialization, consequences, rules, routines. There's a reduced risk of substance abuse for students that are here all day. They are more likely to explore their interests and try new things. They tend to have healthier lifestyles. If they're here more often, they tend to have healthier bodies. Their self-esteem is higher, and there's enhanced social opportunities as well. So please, 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 make sure you're sending your kids every day that they're not vomiting or feverish. We don't want them to. But if it's not that, if they're anxious, anxiety is not solved by staying at home. Talk to your counselors, develop a plan, get in the building, we can help, okay? Get involved is the next thing I want you to think about. Clubs and sports are all on our website, it's on the next screen as well. Please make sure that you try some new things. The memories that you're going to make in high school are not going to be that math test. Sorry, Mr. Glavin, but that math test, that was awesome. That's not the memories of high school. The memories of high school are, that big soccer match that I went to, and we ran onto the field when they won the championship, and all these things that you can do outside of the classroom that really build the importance of your time in high school. We want you to embrace that. There are, for athletics, there are some summer workouts. They are not necessarily mandatory, but it is a good opportunity for coaches to get a first look at your students. So the athletics office will be sharing with you guys what those summer workouts look like, and then what the fall tryouts schedule will be. Please keep track of avoiding academic overload. So if you are a high-achieving student, maybe every single one of your core class teachers has recommended you to take advanced something. Don't take advanced everything, especially if you're also going to be trying some sports and activities. It's just too much. So focus on your strength areas. If you're really strong in comm arts, maybe take advanced English. Maybe take advanced history. If you're really pushing hard for a mathy, sciencey career, maybe take advanced maths, right? Maybe consider taking a science class over summer school so you can advance and get into a higher science class sooner rather than later. So there are some things that don't try to do it all, because you could really get burned out. The LHS Athletic Night will be advertised, but if you are interested in any sport, any of the 3 seasons of Liberty, at Liberty for next year, so the fall sports, the winter sports, and the spring sports, all of those, there's an informational night on Wednesday, February 25th, 6 to 7 p.m. More information following, but it will be here. These are, this is something to know about athletic eligibility. So, in order to be eligible to play sports, so this is a new concept. Usually when you're younger, if you want to play sports, you just play sports. To be eligible to play sports, not only do you have to be good enough to make the team, you do tryouts and you're selected, but you have to be academically eligible. This is something that's new. So in high school, everybody that comes in gets a fresh start. So fall semester, everybody is academically eligible to play a sport. But if first semester you don't do so hot, you might not be able to play a winter or a spring sport the following semester. So you have to earn, you're going to be in 3.5 credits of classes. You have to earn at least 3 credits, which is you could fail one class and still play a sport the next semester, but if you failed more than one class, you cannot play a sport that next semester. You have to regain your eligibility and try again next year. That's how that works, okay? So in winter or spring, if you don't pass 6 of your 7 classes, then you cannot even try out. You can't even go out for that sport. Also, at the college level, there are requirements to be eligible to play sports. So if you're a really talented athlete, and maybe there's been talk of maybe eventually one day you being able to play sports at the collegiate level, please know that there are certain classes you must take in high school, certain grades you must get in high school in order to be eligible to play sports in college. And so when you get this PowerPoint sent home to you, the slideshow sent home to you, those are links that will explain those eligibility rules for collegiate athletics. And that's the list of all of the different sports and clubs with a link to the website so you can find out the names of the coaches and the names of the sponsors and reach out if you wanted to know more. So we want to talk a little bit about choosing classes. That's a big point of why you're here tonight. So what we know is that everybody's going to be taking 7 credits of classes. Everyone needs 7 credits. But what that looks like from one student to the next student can vary depending on what core classes are being offered for them, whether or not they took some summer school before freshman year, whether they're trying to be advanced, maybe they need some additional support classes. So we'll use Joe as example 1 on the far left. Joe is taking pretty standard, what we would see for 97% of our freshmen. He's taking English 1, Algebra 1, AME is the science class that all freshmen are required to take. It's applications of matter and energy. He's taking a semester of cultural geography and another semester of Western civilization for a total of 1 credit of social studies. 1 semester of health, 1 semester of PE for 1 whole credit there. The blue classes were classes he got to choose. The other ones are required. They're recommended. His English, math, science, and social studies teacher will tell him, this is what you're taking. Health and PE everybody takes. And then the blue classes, Joe chose Spanish and child development. Child development for first semester, culinary arts for the second semester. So that's Joe. That's the classes that Joe took. Bobby is a student that struggles a little bit more. He needs a little bit of additional assistance. So he's been recommended, he's in English 1, but that blue reading enrichment class, that means his English teacher said, English 1 might be a little bit hard for Bobby, so we're going to have another period of his school day for his elective, instead of it being culinary arts and child development or Spanish, he's going to be taking a reading enrichment class to help develop his reading skills to help him be successful in his English class. He was recommended for Foundations of Algebra, which is a slight step down to be ready to go into Algebra 1 hopefully the following year. Everybody takes AME, everybody takes Cultural Geography and Western Civ, Health and PE. Because he already had 1 elective spoken for with that support class, he only got to have 1 additional class that he selected, which was the Woods class, so he was going to go into the Industrial Tech class. Susie is somebody that's trying to challenge herself. She's been recommended for some advanced classes, so Susie is going to have a nervous breakdown. But this is what Susie's schedule looks like. She is in Advanced English, Advanced Geometry, the AME class that all freshmen take, Advanced History, French 1, PBS is Principles of Biomed Science, it's a weighted science class, and she's also taking Art Fundamentals first semester and Drawing second semester, so that's her 7 credits. Do you notice Susie doesn't have Health and PE? And she got to choose 3 credits of classes? That's because Susie did summer school. So she did her health and PE in summer school the summer before freshman year. It opened up another spot on her schedule because Susie is, I don't know what Susie's doing, but she's rushing things a little bit, but she's gonna get a lot done freshman year. All right, again, these are links. So we have a course guide. In the course guide, you will be able to see all of the courses that we offer, which grade levels of students can take that particular class. So there's some classes that are open to to 9th through 12th graders, but there's some classes that are only for 12th or only for 11th and 12th. So when you read the course guide, it will tell you that. It will tell you if it counts as a one whole credit class, which means it's a whole year, or if it's a half credit class, which means it's one semester. The courses are listed, they're grouped by category of subject, so all of the science classes are together, all of the social studies classes are together, and et cetera, and there's a course description. It says exactly what they do in that class. And let's say you run across in that course guide, you run across a class that sounds really, really interesting. If it has a prerequisite is a class you have to take first. So you probably won't be surprised to hear that before you can take Piano 2, you have to take Piano 1, right? Before you take AP Biology, you have to take regular biology. So if there's a class that sounds really awesome, maybe plan that for the future, but then maybe take the one step down from that this next year so you can be prepared to get to that later class. Also on the course guide area of our website, there's a section called Helpful Information. On the helpful information is where you'll see the graduation requirements, how to graduate with honors, and talking about capstone experiences, which is just a fancy phrase for kind of get out of here a half day during your senior year and do something in the real world and still get high school credit for it. So we've got some pretty cool options. Here's the graduation requirements. I'm going to fly through these. You can find them everywhere on our website. You need 4 credits of math, 4 credits of English, 3 credits of math, and don't be fooled. We are going to tell you to take that 4th credit of math no matter what you're doing after you graduate. You probably need 1 more math. 3 credits of math, 3 credits of social studies, 3 credits of science, 1 credit of PE. The first half credit is the class called PE that freshmen have to take. The other half credit can happen any time after that. It could be freshman year all the way through senior year. They will take another PE elective class to finish that out. There's also a 1 credit of practical arts. The word art gets really confusing. Practical arts just focus on the word practical. These are practical skills classes. Industrial tech, family and consumer sciences, the journalism publications classes, technical theater, marketing classes, business classes, computer classes, all of those are considered practical arts, those hands-on classes. Fine arts are those more creative classes. Theater, art, and music, you need 1 credit of that. You need a half credit of health, you'll take care of that freshman year. You need a half credit of personal finance, you'll take care of that junior or senior year. And if I added up from 4 credits of English down to the personal finance half credit, that would add up to 17 credits. I need those specific 17 credits. And then if I take anything extra from any category up there, if I take a 4th math, if I take a 4th science or social studies, it goes into the category called elective. People usually kind of stress out about, like, how do I get my electives? Listen, people, if you get the 17 that you have to have, and you add up overall to 25, by default you had your 8 credits of electives. AP Physics 2 is the hardest class is one of the hardest classes in our building. AP Physics 2. AP Calc BC is also one of our hardest classes. Both of those are considered electives because you're already done with your required math and science before you even get to those. So elective doesn't mean easy, it just means another category beyond these other 17 credits. Does that make sense to you guys? Nods if it does? Cool. All right. If you want to push a little harder, you can graduate with honors. Why would you do that? Well, maybe you want to get recognized at graduation. You get a medal, you get some special cords, you get your name special way in the program at graduation, and they have you stand and be recognized at the graduation ceremony. If this is something that you're interested in, pay closer attention to this. It's driven by GPA and a couple of other things, the certain classes that you're taking. The link on the previous slide to the helpful information is going to describe this much more in depth than this slide does, but just know that if you have over a 3.0 cumulative weighted GPA in high school, then, and you do a few other things, you might be able to get recognized for graduating with honors, which would be awesome. We do have something called WSD Pathways, so if you're at Frontier, you probably have heard this already. And basically Pathways is a program where we just start the process of making the decisions that the classes that you're choosing should kind of make sense with what you think maybe your goals are right now. This is not I have to choose and plan my whole life. It's not, once I choose a pathway, I can't switch pathways or I can't choose classes that are not on that pathway. It's not any of that. It is just starting the process now of thinking about if I take certain classes in the early days, that will qualify me to take maybe some more advanced classes that I'm really interested in, right? If I just kind of randomly choose classes, And then I get to senior year and I'm like, oh, but I really wanted to take XYZ class. And somebody will say, well, you didn't take the 2 prerequisite classes first. So it's kind of that planning ahead idea, and that hopefully will then flow through to life after high school, so that you're making choices that lead you in a certain direction that will open opportunities. That's really the whole point of Pathways. The Pathways are on the right side, that white sheet. You can't read it, but it is, that's a sample. There's, I think there's 16 pathways on our website, and they do say, like for this pathway, so this one's communications, these are the Liberty classes that are offered that kind of fall into that pathway. So if these careers that are listed up here in the middle, if these careers are somewhat interesting to you, maybe consider taking these classes. So if you're like, we're completely lost, we have no idea what we should be choosing for those blue choice classes, those extra classes you get to choose, maybe use those pathways sheets to help you decide. So there's a link to that on the helpful information pages as pathways. And then we also have some special programs. Some of them are available to juniors and seniors, and some of them are available just to seniors. But often they are half-day programs, and they're experiential learning, real-world stuff. The classes in blue are they're offered at Lewis and Clark Career Center. We pay the tuition to send some of our students there for half of a day, their junior and or senior year, depending on the program. Some of the programs are 1 year, and some of the programs are 2 years. And the red font class programs are through the CAPS program, which is the Center for Advanced Professional Studies. They get out of the building, they get real-world projects, they get certifications, but they also get credits for electives back here at Liberty, and we pay the tuition for those. They're really awesome opportunities. St. Charles Community College also has some pretty cool opportunities to get a jump start on those careers. If you want to be a welder, a pharmacy technician, or a pharmacist, a CNA, or a nurse, we have programs that you can get out of the building and get your first certification started. They also have, at the bottom right-hand corner, is the ability to do dual enrollment or early college, where you can start earning college credits while you're still in high school. Not freshman year, but if you're highly motivated, you could even maybe get started with one class sophomore year and dive in a little deeper junior and senior year. I'm going to talk on a later slide why that might be a good idea for some of you. Maybe not all of you, but some of you. All of these different options are viable options. So if, in my family, and maybe a lot of the parents that are my age or a little younger than me, when we were growing up, it was all about college, 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 you're going to college, 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 and maybe some of that is still persisting in your household. But there's some scary statistics about the costs of college, the unemployment rate for recent college graduates. What I think is most important, I feel like basically all of these are college. What isn't college is I didn't do any other skills training or skills building after I graduated from high school, and I have a job that says, would you like fries with that? That's not college, but everything else that's up here is some kind of college. They're developing skills, they're getting certifications, on-the-job training, actual degrees, apprenticeships, whatever. All of these are valid options. So really figuring out as soon as you can what you think maybe the career that you might want to start with is, and head towards that, and don't waste your time chasing something, with time and money, chasing something that really isn't going to serve you well. If you really had wanted to do something that only requires a 2-year degree, and you chased a 4-year degree, you just burned 2 years of paying that college money, but you also burned 2 years of earnings that you could have had. So these are some important conversations and decisions that you'll be making along the way. The A-plus program, when I have a captive audience, I talk about the A-plus program. Every single student should complete this program, even if it's just your backup plan. In 9th and 10th grade, the only thing you can really do is work on keeping your attendance up, because there is an attendance requirement, and keeping your GPA up, because there is a GPA requirement. 11th and 12th grade, you can do the additional steps, which are to get your tutoring and mentoring hours completed. These are the requirements for the A-plus program. Be a citizen, sign an agreement. We will have those agreements sent down to, probably when we send out the link to this slideshow, we'll have the A-plus agreement. We'll send some hard copies to Frontier so you can get a printout if you don't have a printer at home. You need a 4-year weighted GPA of 2.5 or higher, a 95% attendance rate, which is about 8 days of sickness per year. Maintain good citizenship, which means stay out of trouble. Get a qualifying score on a math assessment. And then do 50 hours of tutoring or mentoring, and we coach you through how to do that, and it is not hard. If you do those things, you get a scholarship. And here on this next slide are smart ways that you could use your A-plus scholarship. Let's say there's a student A, the first example, wants to go to Mizzou. Now this is an old example. This says Mizzou's $25,000 a year. Anybody that's paying tuition right now at Mizzou says, I wish. It is not that anymore. It's closer to 30. but let's say $25,000 a year, and but maybe they're not going to get any scholarships. So they go to the community college for 2 years. They get the general education classes done at St. Charles Community College, the same classes they would have had to take at Mizzou. They transfer all of those credits that they got for free to Mizzou, and they saved themselves 2 years of tuition at Mizzou. Doing that saved them $50,000 by doing it that way. And it's not as though they get a half of a diploma. They get the same diploma as somebody that's been there all 4 years. So instead of borrowing an additional $50,000, this family chose to use the A+ scholarship. Another student, middle one, chose to go to a university. They didn't want to spend time actually attending the community college. They wanted to go straight to a university. Every senior that graduates with the A+ scholarship, that summer right after they graduate, they can take 2 free classes at the community college, even online. So if you're on vacation in Florida, you can take some online classes using your A+ scholarship. These are 2 classes you were going to have to take anyway. Those 2 classes are free instead of costing $3,000 to $4,000. So if you're wondering how can I earn a scholarship, you gave yourself that scholarship. Use it. So take those classes over the summer, transfer those credits, and when you do that, not only did you save yourself $3,000 to $4,000, but you could also take 1 less class each semester of freshman year of college, making freshman year easier. So instead of taking 5 classes first semester, 5 classes second semester, I could take 4 and 4. Hopefully that would make me be able to breathe a little easier, but I wouldn't be behind on my pace to graduate on time. And the third way is just as a backup plan. So you never know. We have students that go away, they think they're going to go to their dream school. It's not what they thought it was. They end up back home for maybe a semester, sending out new applications to new colleges, but that semester they're home. They can use that A+ scholarship and keep working on not falling behind on those credits. So for all of those reasons, I highly recommend everybody do the A+ program, even if it's just your backup plan. Okay. I want to talk about the DNA of career readiness. So the D stands for desired outcome, N stands for needs, and A stands for actions. So what I'm talking about, it can be anything. For desired outcome, it could be a specific career. So I want to be an astrophysicist. I don't, but I mean somebody does, and thank God they do. So what is the desired outcome? But it could also be, and I'm going to ask parents, we're going to spend 10 seconds. I want you to shout out to me, what are some characteristics that you want your adult children to have? Qualities, characteristics, go. Yell one at me so I can hear you. Self-sufficient. What was over here? Disciplined. Maybe. What about resilient? What about responsibility? Right? Trustworthiness, drive. Whatever the goal is, there are some needs to be able to get there, right? So if I want to be an astrophysicist, I have to figure out what it takes to become an astrophysicist and figure out what those steps are, and then I need to take action. If I'm an adult, if I'm a parent, and I want my child to be responsible, do I excuse everything that they didn't go to school today, so I'm going to call the school and say they were sick? Were they sick? Or were they just choosing not to go to school that day? If a child doesn't do their own laundry, do you want them to do their own laundry one day? Practice doing laundry. These are the times to be figuring out what do I want my adult child, what skills and qualities do I want my adult child to have, and start practicing those now and take those actions. But also with those decisions about college, right? We want your decisions about what college looks like to be data-driven, because it can be a very emotional conversation and decision. So this is an important slide, I think. College isn't 13th grade. So all the way up through 12th grade, we're just plugging away. From 10th grade to 11th grade to 12th grade, but college isn't 13th grade. You better have a darn good reason to go to college before you head there, because it's very expensive and it's hard, right? And so here's some statistics that I think are really important to know right now, before you even get to high school. Of students that start day one at a 4-year university, 58% of them will finish that 4-year degree in 6 years. 58. Okay, so that means 42% of people that started that degree didn't finish. And I have to believe that some of that's going to be maybe some catastrophic thing happened in somebody's family. Yes, for sure. But I think a whole lot of those students went to college because it's 13th grade. They didn't have a plan, and maybe once they figured out what their plan was, they realized there was actually something else that they should do differently, okay? And I think some of them ran out of money because this is a very expensive proposition. The 30% in the middle is the same statistic, but for 2-year colleges within 3 years. So students that started at a 2-year college, after 3 years, they checked in to see how many completed their associate's degree. This one, I believe, is a little artificially low because I think some of those students transfer before they finished a degree. So I think it's probably a little closer to that 58%. But having 42% of people that start college not finish is frightening. Do you think it's possible some of those students took a student loan out? Yeah, right? So they had to pay those back, even if they didn't finish the degree. So these are really important conversations to be having. This circle on the right, this is a brand new circle, has never been on a slideshow for me before. I added it this time. 30% of recent college graduates right now are working in their field full-time. So they graduated in this last year. 30% of them were able to find a job in the field that they were trying to find a job in. And of the other 70% that are doing something else, 33% of those are just unemployed, cannot find a job right now. So the reason I say this is that I think for a long time, we didn't really say the choice of college major was this super important. But with the dawn of AI and a lot of other things happening in our economy, you need to be paying attention to where the job openings are. Because if you just go to college to find yourself, and God bless you if that's you, and if your finances support that plan, fantastic. I am super excited for you. But for anybody else that's more of a working class, if you don't have a plan, it's very possible you walk out the door with a degree that you can't do anything with it, and you're paying back student loans 6 months after graduation, so you have to go get a job at McDonald's and say, do you want fries with that, right? So we're trying to avoid that. Pay attention to that job market. When you're picking college majors, make sure it's a marketable future, that there is something on the other side of this, that you really are not going to be one of these statistics. It's really important that you're not going to end up with a lot of student debt and then not have anywhere to go to start earning money. I'm going to run through this example really quick. So this is a true example using Mizzou's what they call a net price calculator. A student with a 3.7 GPA through all 4 years of high school, they applied for their senior year to go to Mizzou. They applied without ACT or SAT test scores, which is allowed, and Mizzou will just look at their GPA. They did not earn any merit scholarships because of that. Their parents' combined income is $100,000. They had about $10,000 in the bank, not necessarily for college, just $10,000 in a bank account or other assets, and 5 people total in their family. Tuition and fees is up here $17,500, housing and dining on top of that, another $15,000. Books, transportation, personal expenses. So that cost of attendance is what Mizzou said for the student. That's how much it would cost to go to Mizzou. This student, because of their finances, qualified for a grant from the state of Missouri, so $1,900 was reduced, and Mizzou also gave them a grant based on some of their financial need. Another $9,000 was reduced. So their estimated ticket price was $25,386 to go to Mizzou. Every freshman qualifies for a federal student loan worth $5,500. That is still money you have to pay back, but you don't have to pay it right now. So if I reduce that $5,500, I'm just delaying it till later. I do have to pay it. But what do I owe right now is $19,886. And Mizzou will say, thank you, we will take that $19,886. You have to figure out, where do you come up with that money? Are you getting a home equity loan? Are you taking money out of your retirement account? Are you taking bazillion student loans out? Or are you looking at another college that maybe is more affordable? And here's why I'm saying, this is DNA, it's scientific. Use the facts when you're making these decisions, not emotions. Your children will tell you, this is my dream school. I will not be happy if I go anywhere else. This is the school I need to go to. And parents, God love you, you try to make that happen for them. But this is the only decision that I know of that families make that is just not based on facts. Because when I go shop for a car, there's certain car dealerships I can't go to. When I go shop for a house, there's certain neighborhoods that I can't buy a house in. But for some reason, when our wonderful children tell us that they've got this goal, this dream school that they want to go to, we feel like we have to make that happen under any circumstances. And this is a lot of debt, right? And you should not ever borrow from your you shouldn't take a home equity loan. You should not borrow from your retirement accounts. That is, any financial advisor would tell you that's a really bad idea. So maybe it's time to be thinking about what are some other ways that we can make that more affordable. These next next two slides, I don't want to waste too much more of your time, but basically these are slides between like from 1999, how much it costs to go to college, and how much a first-time house would cost. So I'm going to focus on those $2 amounts. The average starting salary for a college graduate in 1999 was $35,000. And right below that on the right, it says the first-time home buyer price, like a beginner starter home, back in 1999 was about $150,000. And if you went to a bank to get a loan, the bank would have wanted you to have a salary of $36,500. Really close, right? So in 1999, a new college graduate could almost be prepared to be approved for the loan for a new house, for a starter house. In 2025, the average starting salary is $68,600. The first-time homebuyer average price for a starter home is $400,000. And if you went to a bank, the salary that they would want you to have to qualify for that loan is $110,000. So this student right here, are they moving out anytime soon? No. Do you want them forever? No. I mean, you want them to come back and visit, right? But we really have to play this game smart. And if they're going to have to save up that much money to be able to get a down payment for a house, can they pay back student loans? A bunch of student loans, right? So we need to be having these conversations early and thinking about it early. The best way to save money on college, and I know this is weird, right? You're like, we're in 8th grade. But if you don't do some of these things, to start some of these things now, or having these decisions or conversations now, you're going to end up senior year and really have a hard time with where you've ended up. So first of all, choose wisely. A degree is a degree with very few exceptions. There's not really going to be bad colleges. So if you can find a college that gives you the degree that you want for the job that you're trying to get, and they were going to give you some good money and you didn't have to borrow very much, go get that degree from that school if you can. That would be a great choice. You can also future-proof your odds of getting a job by your choice of major. Making sure you're aware what out there is the highest areas of job growth. Technology, healthcare, customer service is actually really high. So be aware of what's going on in the economy and choosing those things carefully. Making sure when you're in college, students that are here, have you ever heard of traveling abroad during college? I'd like to travel abroad. Raise your hand if you'd like to travel abroad. Parents would like to travel abroad too, right? Travel abroad is awesome. It opens your doors. There's more than just Missouri in the world. That's great. But you know what's going to help you land a job? An internship, an apprenticeship, those kinds of things. So be aware that the things you do during college can help you get a job so that you don't, not on one of those statistics. Also, is not too late to start a 529 plan. So down front in here, if you are interested in learning, 529 plans are from the state of Missouri. I am not a financial advisor, but there are a lot more ways that you can use it than they used to be. It used to be pretty tight. Now you can use it obviously for college. You can use it for trade schools and career technical programs, registered apprenticeships. You can use it to repay student loans for another child, if it didn't work out for the child that you had it in their name. You can also roll it over to a Roth IRA, where it would grow as a retirement account for your child. So if you put the money in and they didn't go to college or didn't use all of the 529 funds, you could roll that over to a Roth IRA. You could change the beneficiary of the account, including yourself. You could take the college classes. So this handout gives you a little bit of information about that. Basically, the idea behind the Section 529 plan is that pre-tax, you're diverting money into this account, and then you're using that account towards college dollars tax-free. And so even if it's late in the game, you can do that now and save, maybe if it's just hundreds or maybe low thousands of dollars. Anything is helpful in that regard. The last thing is getting out sooner rather than later. In high school, if you can, start your college classes early. Get AP credit, get dual enrollment credit. If you can get out of college 1 year early, so let's use the Mizzou example, right? Mizzou is going to cost me $25,000. So if I could get out 1 year early, I just saved myself $25,000, right? So that's cool. But if I hit the job market 1 year early and that job would have made $50,000, getting out of college 1 year early just saved me $75,000, 1 year early. Okay? So do some things while you're in high school to jumpstart those careers so that you are in college spending less time and money doing that. Here's some summer school information. It's too early to sign up. February 23rd is when the link will go live, where you can sign up for classes. Summer school is virtual and asynchronous. What this means, virtual, we know what virtual is. Asynchronous means there's deadlines, But during a given week, as long as I'm meeting the deadline, what time I'm actually working on the class is up to me. So if I'm on the beach at vacation, but in the afternoon I can go back to my room and work on something, hey, great, as long as you're meeting your deadlines. That's what asynchronous means. We have 3 options: health, PE, and that science class, applications of matter and energy. So if you wanted to take any of those to get those out of the way before freshman year, you can sign up for that summer school. That's it. I've exploded your head. We will send this information to you. If you have questions, come down here. Otherwise, have a great time at the activities fair and welcome to Liberty.